You've tuned in to chipsgrooveradio with your hosts, Mike and John.
Now, you said you had a Super Nintendo growing up, right?
I did.
Okay, cool. Did you play a lot of platformers? I know you liked Super Metroid.
I played a couple. I mean, I played the big ones. I played, the Super Mario and Metroid. I did play Donkey Kong Country, the first one.
Okay, cool.
That's about. I guess that's about it.
No Mega Man?
No, not. I got into Mega Man. Oh, we had Mega Man X, but I didn't. I never played the original ones. Yeah, the best one.
Okay.
I never was into the original ones, but I did play a lot of Mega Man X. So and I kind of have appreciated by going backwards and kind of replayed some of the originals and like Mega Man 10 and all that.
Nice.
Kind of reappreciated the original Mega Man for what it was.
Yeah, I actually just spent a few months ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it was last year, and and they came out with the Legacy Collection of the first 6 Mega Man games, and
yeah,
I bought it when it came out, and then I finally got around to it, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that came out in 2015. If that gives you any idea how far behind I am,
yeah.
So I just got this urge to tackle it, and I went through everything, and I did as best I could, and it was a good time. It was fun. They included some challenges where they mix up the levels, and like every time you change screens, it'll be something different from the game instead of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
and it's like time trials and stuff like that. So that's pretty fun.
Nice.
Took some doing.
Yeah, the original ones are a bit harder than Mega Man X.
Yeah, you got to be very precise in those games.
Yeah.
Not fun. So you played the original Donkey Kong Country.
I did.
And what was your opinion of that? I
thought it was really good. I think it's one of those games that is it's a platformer / like one of those. It's like it's a mix between like a modern-ish platformer, like I would consider Super Metroid at the time would be like the modern version of a platformer at the time.
Yeah.
And it was that plus like kind of the more kitschy, like smaller screen style platformers where you didn't have a lot of view to look at, and a lot of collecting things, a lot of collecting little bananas and all that. Some gimmicky parts, but it was fun, and the music was great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, today we're covering Donkey Kong Country 2. The composer is David Wise. He's an England-born man, composer. He was Rare Software's sole composer, I believe, for about 10 years. When they started back in 85 to 94, he was the only guy doing their music, and he's composed many titles, from Battletoads to Super Off-Road, Wizards and Warriors, and then I would say the Donkey Kong Country series probably gained him the most recognition.
Yeah.
I think with the first game, he gave the franchise, the new franchise, it was brand new at this point, taking it from the old arcade game and turning it into this platformer where Donkey Kong's the good guy, and
right.
And building this world around this weird gorilla character in an arcade game. And he gave the first one character, and I think Donkey Kong Country 2 is where he just nailed it for me.
Yeah,
he expanded upon it.
I would say the original Donkey Kong soundtrack is cohesive and is something that shares a kind of a similar DNA throughout the entire album, whereas Donkey Kong Country 2 sounds like it's all over the place, like someone was having an existential crisis about their music and had to figure new things out.
Well, he has composed many different stylings, and a great example of that wide array of styles is the Donkey Kong Country 2 soundtrack, for sure. I completely agree with you. There is a lot going on. There's a lot of shifts in style. You got jazz, swing, I would say big band and ambient. There's percussion-heavy songs, and, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But it is important. I took a quote from Wiki, so again, grain of salt for accuracy, but in the January 96 issue of EGM, Wise stated that his traveling experiences largely shaped the sound and mood of each Donkey Kong soundtrack, further saying that the music for DKC2 was composed during what he called his experimental Paris phase. So
that makes sense.
That probably goes well with how you're feeling. There's a lot of maybe not existential, but maybe some dabbling and trying to make things work or trying different things and hoping they work, something like that.
Yeah, I think that fits with that idea. It's a album that I had a lot of start and stops trying to focus on it for this episode. It would kind of lose me after a couple songs because I just wasn't getting a through line throughout the entire album. And I think you think Donkey Kong, there's a couple tracks in this that kind of harken back to the original Donkey Kong Country, but not many. Most of them are pretty much brand new. Even like new instruments and all that. Mm-hmm. And I think some of them felt a little hollow for sound for the soundtrack. It's a Donkey Kong Country game, so it's not like it's
such
deep.
A deep story, dude. I mean, Jesus. But
the original had at least some semblance, I think, of character. The soundtrack itself is pretty memorable to me, and I was like, is my brain thinking of it better than it was? So I went back and listened to some of the songs and kind of went through, and it definitely is a lot more together than DKC2.
Okay, well, that's fair, man, and that's totally cool. I'm happy actually that we have some differing opinions. We've lined up pretty close throughout our time together, and I think that's awesome. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. What songs maybe stood out to you versus what stood out to me. And so shoot first. I'd like to hear your thoughts on one of your songs. What's something that you wanted to comment on?
One of them that was interesting that kind of was one of the tracks that kind of came out and I listened to multiple times and I thought was pretty interesting was Lockjaw's Saga. It kind of has that 80s action movie vibe to it,
I've got this,
with the timpanis.
This on my list as well. Yep.
And it also gives that little bit of like Metal Gear Solid vibe to it. But this is a great track that I feel has a decent amount of character for this album. And maybe it's not, to me, a DKC song, but I mean, I never played the actual game, so I don't know how it fits in. I know it's Diddy Kong's Quest, so maybe it's a bit more epic than the original Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, it's very epic.
Yeah,
they took everything to 11 in this game. Very so much so.
A track like this that's like an 80s action, the timpani is blaring, and the kind of high tensile high beats that you have in there. It's kind of like your it's kind of a sneaky song. It's great for like an action sequence, I think.
Well, very apropos, I'm sure you got some idea of what was going on in the song to what's happening in the level. You can hear that sampled water sloshing around.
Yeah.
It takes place in the bow of the ship, and you're diving in and out of water in this dark area. And they have this at least a couple times in the game. And there's these really tight corridors, swimming through dangerous waters, that kind of thing. This is actually one of my favorite tracks because the timpani is so powerful. And I'm going to get weird here for a second, but that's just who I am. The opening salvo of timpani on this track has stuck with me since the game released. And as a musician, and as my friends can attest, an air guitar, air drum extraordinaire, this is one of my favorite rhythms to play at any given moment. I'll just tap it on the desk, that opening
the
section of drums. Yeah. It's just what I do. I do it with anything I like, anything that sticks with me, and it's stuck with me since 1995. And I just randomly, I'll just tap it. To myself, I humor myself, but there's something about Wise's abilities to also utilize sound effects in his tracks that really stand out. I mean, plenty of composers do that kind of thing. We actually talked about Steve Collette on the Alien 3 soundtrack, and he input some alien sound effects noises, and clanking metal or whatever. But on this album, there's songs with creaking wood, there's this song with water effects, and there's wind and other songs, things like that. And Wise is really utilizing sound effects instead of instruments to help paint those pictures. And in this song particularly, it, along with the deep timpani, you get that real sense of foreboding and claustrophobic feel. I think this is just a really fun piece to talk about. And we can't go through every track, but this one I definitely wanted to hit on, so I'm kind of glad you brought it up. And okay, so we're on the same page so far.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what else struck you. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, really, the ones that I listed are the songs. Although I will say, I listed "Funky the Main Monkey" as a song that I was kind of came out to me, but listening to it multiple times, I realized it's a lot less interesting than I originally had thought it was. I wanted to love it, especially the initial kind of hip hop beat that you get out of it. But it just kind of falls flat after about 30 seconds of the same kind of riff over and over again. Yeah, I was hoping for something, especially something called "Funky the Main Monkey," to be a lot more interesting than it actually was.
It's definitely just like set decoration, that song. He's not really doing anything. He's just someone that you occasionally run into, and that's his theme, I guess. But I feel you there. It's more of a filler track. That's one of the dabbles, the experimentals, I think, for this album. He's going through that phase. He's trying to put a lot of stuff on this album, and that's one of the ones where he took it easy, I think.
Yeah, I would. It's almost akin to you would get like this kind of standard hip hop track. Like this is you download an app, and this is the sample that comes along with it. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it just kind of feels a little bit uninspired. And I think that's the main complaint I have with a lot of the songs is they feel kind of hollow and uninspired to a certain extent. The ones that are more like the original soundtrack feel like they have more character, and maybe it's just by proxy because they are kind of similar to the original. But yeah, a lot of these tracks just feel very hollow and kind of meaningless.
Okay. So what would you say is a track that reminds you of Donkey Kong Country, the original?
For sure, Cranky's Conga makes me think of the original soundtrack. It has some of the same kind of island themes that the original soundtrack had. I think it even has some of the same instruments that the original soundtrack had.
Yeah. definitely that cello bass going on.
Yeah. And it has the monkey sounds, which are great. Diddy Kong playing main vocals or whatever.
Pretty much.
But it just makes you feel like the original game, and it kind of, I don't know. You think of Donkey Kong Country, you think of Donkey Kong, you think the original soundtrack, and it's, you don't want it to be a repeat, but you also don't want it to be so divergent that it doesn't, like, you go through the soundtrack and it doesn't sound like a Donkey Kong Country song album.
And that's fair. I think you hit on a point that is important, because I know I've experienced things with sequels where it's, especially in video games, where they're trying too much. Yeah. And I feel the way you do about Donkey Kong Country 3.
Yeah.
There's just such a shift. And the music doesn't hit the same way. It is not as vibrant as the first two games. And I would say when you play a game like Donkey Kong Country, the first one, all you can do is think of the next step, or at least for me. And I feel like when DKC2 came out, it was, I think the overall sense that I got for it was that they took things just a little bit further. Mm-hmm. But I personally didn't feel it had diverged too much.
Yeah.
When you play the game, I think you might understand it just a little bit better if you did have the game.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of those things where they gave the bad guys almost a unifying theme. The pirate theme, that swashbuckling aesthetic is prominent throughout the entire game. And they tried to do this. It's like, okay, what can we do? We've got the game. We know what we can do, but how can we make it better? Yeah. So I think that's what they were trying to do. And like I said, I feel the way you do about this game, about Donkey Kong Country 3, where they just tried to take it in different directions that didn't match. And I know I suffer with holding the first one of any franchise to a pedestal.
Yeah,
and I'm like, if it goes away or too far to the left, I'm not going to be happy. And I totally understand that, the way you feel about it, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet that had I played this game when I was a kid and got into the music, and the music had that nostalgia tick to it, when I heard them, it would be better, especially with the context of the game. I think without context, I think this album, that's really the main thing. I think a lot of these albums that we've listened to, even if I haven't played the game, I can get what the context of the game is.
Understand it, yeah.
In this game, I just don't get it to whatever reason. Maybe it's me and my ability to understand the music, but I just don't understand it.
Well, and I'm not taking anything away from what you're saying. I do think you have a very valid point by saying that there's a lot going on this record. But I'm not here to say you need to play the game. You don't understand. That's not it at all. I totally
get it, man.
It's not the same. How dare you shit on this? No. I think you have good points in that it might be too frantic and too erratic for your ear personally, and that's great. One song I definitely wanted to cover, and I'm not alone in this one. I can just imagine that most of the fans of this game out there love this song as much as I do, but Sticker Brush Symphony is one of my favorite examples of David Wise taking a chance and turning Donkey Kong Country into something completely different. Not to get weird again, but when you imagine the old arcade cabinet and then you fast forward 20 years or 10 years, whatever, and this comes out and you've got a song like this, it's on a completely different level. Who could have projected this is what that would turn into?
Right.
I just think it's a very powerful thing that such a beautiful song, to me, I don't know how you feel about it yet, the song to me transcends the rest of the album.
Yeah.
It's so good and so beautiful that it's one of those examples, like Corridors of Time for Chrono Trigger that we talked about. It's one of those songs that can just show you how good a chiptune song can be.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, this really gives you, it kind of gives you Secret of Mana vibes, honestly. And it is a very beautiful track. And yeah, I think this song in particular is a great example of a track that is a divergent, but has a deeper meaning within the actual game. And it comes across in the song itself. It's a very beautiful song, like you said, and it does, I think, transcend the rest of the album. I love the song, and I think it would be better if more of the album was similar to this. Like, You Can Diverge doesn't have to be the same as Donkey Kong Country, but it has to have a voice in some respect, you know?
Yeah, and I think what he did with this song was something we've talked about a couple times on different soundtracks, is it presents itself during one of the most stressful levels in the game. It is a dangerous level where pretty much all the walls can kill you, and you're navigating through these sticker brush, is bramble forest, basically, where everything's got thorns, and it's stressful. But this song just keeps this utter calmness.
Keeps you going.
Yeah, the amount of time I spent in this level, by the way, it's astronomical. But I will say it's not so much because I was bad. It's because one of my favorite elements of Donkey Kong Country 2 is they added the bonus level coins that you can collect. The idea is to get all of them, find all the bonus levels, and beat them. And then on top of that, the DK coins, which they've hidden one per level. And this one took me forever to find. And
really?
I felt so accomplished when I found this one. It was a good day. And
I bet the
just looking for it.
Feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking for it was not as unbearable as it could have been, but it was a great time. And this song just really helped with that. And unlike the name suggests, it's completely synthesizer. There's soft keys that open it. It's just great. So, yeah. Ethereal synth, smooth drumming. I think that Wise knocked it out of the park on this one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what other tracks attract you?
Attract me
to this album?
One of my favorites is going to be Hothead Bop. That's a good one. This is the lava level song.
Sounds like a lava level to me.
It sounds like you can hear the bubbling magma. More sound effects.
Yep.
Yeah, I just really like the groove on this one, and the bass takes the lead, which is always a plus for me. And that really delicate, I think it's an acoustic guitar, but I like it.
Yeah,
it's nice and smooth.
Yeah, it definitely gives you that vibe that it's a lava level for sure, and it is a pretty chill track, and I think a lot of the tracks on this album have that kind of chill vibe. This Sticker Brush has kind of melancholic vibe to it, and this one is sad. More of that. You're just kind of chilling, going through this level, trying to figure it out, jumping from place to place. no rush, no, don't worry about
Right.
it. And it's pretty good. I think it's also one of those tracks that repeats pretty quickly. That there's not much else to it besides the bass itself is interesting, and have that piano and the guitar over top. But yeah, I mean it's okay.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear your final score on this. It's the bass, the piano.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's great. No, I do enjoy it. I think it's another one of those things where I'm attracted to the calm songs, the songs that keep you wanting to move forward and aren't annoying and aren't stressful. There's a lot of room for high octane songs, but David Wise is very good at giving you that space and that moment to breathe with his tracks. Even if the levels are stressful, his songs are telling you to, take a breather and take it in, figure out your next move. Because if there's one thing Donkey Kong Country is known for, it's timing and making sure you get that jump.
Especially the barrels. Goddamn barrels.
Yeah, the barrels. But to comment on that pirate aesthetic, I can't not mention Clomp's Romp. I think
Clomp's Romp.
It's the first level theme.
Yep.
It sets that stage of the new look for the bad guys. It's like a play. That's how I always view Donkey Kong Country. The enemies are just putting on costumes and coming at you a different way.
Right.
They've all got peg legs or swords or pirate hats, and it's got that creaking wood of a ship floating on water. The track opens with a small snare to give kind of a poppy beat, and that stereotypical flute comes in to bring the theme, and it just slowly evolves into a really whimsical tune it's as fun to me as it is simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's now knowing that the aesthetic is pirates, this song definitely makes a lot more sense. And it is very whimsical, especially the little snare drum and the flute that turns into a synth. This does remind me a lot of the original Donkey Kong Country, especially the kind of harpsichord, but that synth that's in the middle there feels very Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
The creaking of the boat gets a little overwhelming to me. I think I could do without that for the actual song, but I can understand it in a level.
Pull the plug on this podcast right now.
The creaking stays in.
How dare you? Okay,
it does send those pirate vibes, those crocodile pirate vibes my way.
Okay, good. Let's take this in a little bit different direction. This next song I'm going to mention, I'm interested in your take just because it is percussion heavy.
Yeah.
And is very different, I would say. Another calmer track, I would say, but Cannon's Claim. It's got a really metallic beat to it, very rhythmic, and even the main theme almost is done with percussion. How do you find this song? Is this one more palatable to you? Is it too left fieldy for you? Mining Melancholy is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit. I don't know if I've got the original titles or not.
Oh, that's fine. Those other ones were the titles I saw. So. Yeah, this it's interesting. It's kind of like someone playing drums on a steel plate or something. I can understand the mine, it's a mine, I imagine.
Yeah. Yes.
So they're mining away. That's the sound that you're hearing. I don't know. It feels very experimental. This song, it feels
a little Disney-esque. With your tools are making the sounds, the rhythm of the song.
Right.
My pickaxe is now the drum.
Yeah, and it has. It's an interesting track for sure. The synth is pretty cool over top the drums. I just can't get over the steel drum. It's kind of, I don't know, very hollow to me, to be honest.
Okay. So my songs are busts almost.
Oh, I mean, I sound like an asshole, huh?
No. You're fine. You're fine. I'm intrigued to see what other songs have grabbed you, if any. If maybe we've gone through all of them. I don't know.
Those are the ones I had written down, but kind of going over, listening back to Disco Train.
Okay.
I like the intro to Disco Train. It's very, very chill, very, just the beat is cool, and the kind of the soft synth that comes over it. It's pretty chill. The kind of weird synth that kind of goes up and down, waves up and down, is not my style. But the rest of it, like the beat is cool, and the bass drum. I mean, the bass is pretty sick.
Well, again, if you had just played the game,
Right.
you would know that wavering synth is the up and down of a roller coaster.
Ah. Okay. All right. Makes sense.
I'm
now.
just fucking with you.
And the screams are going up and down.
Pretty much. It takes place in this weird crocodile carnival or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple levels like this. But yeah, that is a different song as well. You're right. The more I think about it, the more experimental I would say he got with all these tracks. But to me, I think it adds to the fun of it. And your opinion's wrong.
I know.
So no.
It's a thing where it probably all these tracks probably make more sense in the context that they are in the game.
I'm sure.
And it's tough because some, like I said, some soundtracks have such a strong through line that it's easy to understand where the composer's coming from, where some kind of require the game itself to understand that.
And that makes sense to me. The more I hear you talk about it, the more I'm realizing that, yeah, maybe the songs are very derivative of what you're seeing on screen. And maybe you do need that, especially for someone who's never played the game. And I totally understand that. So, okay. Final thoughts, sir. I won't harp on this one. I won't put you through it.
No,
I'm going to send this to David Weiss.
I understand.
You are on the list.
I'm on the list. I'm on the blacklist. I'm on the Weiss list. I would say that there are certain tracks that are interesting, and certainly there are some that are good. The fact that it didn't catch me is maybe not the fault of the album, just my tastes don't match up with it. But it didn't like make me want to really dive through it. I would listen to it for a little while and then tune out. And I don't know. It's and then now that now you list the tracks, I'm kind of listening to them again. They're well composed tracks. It's just some of them are feel very hollow compared to other soundtracks that we've done.
Yeah, he does have quite a few, I would say, segue tracks or tracks for, like, say, Wrinkly Kong and her school or whatever. They're very simple, very short areas that you're not meant to spend a whole lot of time in. Funky Kong, Cranky Kong. Those are more anthems, I guess, for the individual characters. And I can see how that would be. Right. It feels more like filler. And there are other tracks that even I would say the Disco Train that we were just talking to is, I wouldn't call it filler. I would call it much more simple than a lot of other tracks. So I understand your points, and I will take it under advisement when I consider your future for the show.
I'm being Donkey Kong fired.
Oh no, but for me, the soundtrack it is one of my favorites of the genre for the system. I had a lot of fun with this game, and it does add to the experience for me. I think the playfulness, the experimentation for me was something that I felt that DKC they were tapping into, but they didn't dive into it. David Wise really let his creative juices flow. He tried a lot of things, and for me, I appreciated it, and I leave this album with you all because, yeah, it's one of the better platformers for the Super Nintendo. So now, as we like to do, we like to promote the composers. David Wise, WISE, by the way, .co.uk is his website. You can find him on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube. The man is very well known. I'm very happy I can't include John in this. I'm very happy to have gone over this soundtrack. And show love for him. He's a great man. He's got a lot of stuff under his belt. And he's still going strong. He came back to Nintendo and is helping out with... He helped out with the latest Donkey Kong Country, which was Tropical Freeze back 10 years ago or something, but he was also doing some more stuff.
That's
so
cool.
Check him out. He's fun to listen to, and he's got plenty out there. So,
nice.
John, if you would like to rate this game soundtrack, what would you give it?
I would give it...
And don't let me pressure you into anything. you be honest, sir.
I'm going to give it a solid down the middle 5 out of 10 bananas.
5 out of 10. All right. I will give it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
9 out of 10 barrels.
Yep.
Barrels. Okay, well, that is the episode today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. And John, if you would like to say goodbye.
I'm going to get in this barrel. I'm going to get on out of here.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Also, check out Magus Media's other podcast, This Is Not Happening, Another X-Files podcast for complete episode breakdowns, insightful banter, and inane babble. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Well, hello there, Internet people. My name is Josh, and I am one of the hosts of the Nastagram RPG podcast. We're an actual play podcast, and we're good. And why are we good? Well, let's let the other host tell you. Dan.
Hey, everyone. If you like authentic, real-world sound effects, our lasers go pew-pew.
I love it. Matt.
Skip me. Coming back to Matt.
Ryan.
Okay, so after 2 decades of trying, we finally mastered the 3.5 grapple.
We're not doing that.
We certainly did
Never
not.
mind.
Try
Scratch
again.
that. Scratch
Scratch
that.
that. Look it up.
John.
If you're looking for a RPG podcast that plays a whole hell of a lot of games, we like to spice the life.
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
Matt, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. If you enjoy bad accents and overacting, you'll enjoy our podcast.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And Jake, bring us home.
I like to just say we didn't just throw a phone on the table and hit record. Like, Josh does a damn good job with the editing. And
Facts.
if you care about that, you will not be disappointed.
That's right. We spent a bunch of money that we don't make on the podcast.
100%.
So check us out, Nastagram RPG Podcast. You can find us on all the goddamn podcast apps, and we'll see you there.
That's nasty.